Sauron's forces are already moving.
It's showtime.
Welcome. Hang on 2 seconds, my webcam's stuck. Back in a minute. It's EKoM Friday. Good to see everybody in the chat. It's Friday. It's the 26th of April, believe it or not. And tell me if my mic level's okay. It's not too loudly because the last episode it was a little bit too loud. So welcome everybody. We have a great show tonight. We're going to get started off with half an hour of new jingles, some Matrix stuff, explaining just what sort of world we live in. And we're also going to get in, if somebody let me know my mic's okay, it's all be great. And Shambhala, welcome. Matthew, brother Matthew, also welcome. We have some new jingles in the house also. Right, let's do it. Let's play some new jingles. Yeah, decent. Check it out.
Sir, I formally convey my presence.
How you doing?
We are not used to physical contact greetings.
What would your inner Stephen be telling you?
As you can see, we've had our eye on you for some time now, Mr. Anderson. It seems that you've been living two lives. One life, you're Thomas A. Anderson, program writer for a respectable software company. You have a social security number, you pay your taxes, and you help your landlady carry out her garbage. The other life is lived in computers, where you go by the hacker alias Neo and are guilty of virtually every computer crime we have a law for. One of these lives has a future, one does not. I'm going to be as forthcoming as I can be, Mr. Anderson. You're here because we need your help. We know that you've been contacted by a certain individual, a man who calls himself Morpheus. Whatever you think you know about this man is irrelevant. He is considered by many authorities to be the most dangerous man alive. My colleagues believe that I'm wasting my time with you, but I believe you wish to do the right thing. We're willing to wipe the slate clean, give you a fresh start. And all that we're asking in return is your cooperation in bringing a known terrorist to justice.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds like a really good deal. But I think I got it better. How about I give you the finger, and you give me
disappoint me.
You can't scare me with this Gestapo crap. I know my rights. I want my phone call.
Tell me, Mr. Anderson, what good is a phone call if you're unable to speak?
How do you get the protein as quick as possible into the bloodstream? You're right. A little schnapps, directly from Austria. And you pour it in. Not too much.
Understand you! This is crazy! You understand?
No bullshit. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Bullshit! You sell sound! It's all bullshit!
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
We certainly are going to need a boat, and guess what? I have one. I have a boat. How good is that? Yes, sir. So, welcome everybody. I think my mic needs to be a little bit louder because this technology, my mouse has also got a notification from our lovely platform. My mouse has just started acting a bit funny, which is to be expected, isn't it? I mean, it's just standard in this technological world that we all reside in. And like, I just went to the shop earlier. The mobile phone signal, this black screen device, the mobile phone signal is non-existent. Crazy. Three network. Anyway, ZYX, welcome. Audrey B, good to see you. All the regulars, Lord Doobsworth, good to see you also. He made this one, bro. He didn't not late this time. Vivarium Snake, welcome. Credo, also good to see you, bro. Tony Garrett, Squirrel Sniper, John Francis, all the regulars and non-conformista. Right, we're gonna look at some sea monsters tonight, right? Because, right, this is it. We have all these old maps, and like, I'm sure when you were young, you'd see these old maps, and you'd see the sea monsters on it, and way back then, you'd think like, well, why did they have sea monsters on them? You know, what you wouldn't put something on a map. You wouldn't put something on a map that wasn't true. You wouldn't just not to the extent that is here. Look, I'll show you. Right. So yeah, actually, let me just. I've got my. Let me just check. My OBS. I've been training on it a little bit more, and I'm gonna change the music. So I'll try to find it. So yeah, I hope everybody's well. Big up to Patrick as well, Amy and Patrick. Big up to Dan and Meg. Hope they're gonna come in the chat tonight, and all my other viewers as well. So let me find this clip. This is no, this one. I've got so many clips in my OBS. It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. Can't even find it. Anyway, actually, let me play a video. I'll be back 2 seconds.
The hour is later than you think. Sauron's forces are already moving.
tough animal. He grew up in my neighborhood. He was the baddest cat around.
Morning, Rachel. Good to see you. And also Shambhala. Welcome. Oh, Shambhala! I met you at Rotary. I remember. Shambhala. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Welcome back. Green Mist. If everybody could smash the like button, like don't just press it, smash it, because of all these YouTubers say that, oh, smash the like button. Just press like, it'd be great because it does help me out. Thank you.
How do you get the protein as quick as possible into the bloodstream? You're right. A little schnapps.
Truly Lynn, welcome also, and that hurt. Good to see you. All regulars in the chat tonight. Do give it a share if you can, guys. And we got a deep dive interview with Mark Pajerski next Friday, 7 o'clock.
Rudolf Steiner, whose teachings led to anthroposophical medicine, biodynamic farming, and the Waldorf School, said that the heart is a seven-sided regular form that sits in an imaginary box in the chest.
Guys, this is crazy, right? There's actually quite a lot. Greg Reese over InfoWars actually puts out a lot of really next level disclosure videos for the masses, and this video's nuts about the heart, right? You can fold the heart up. This is crazy, right? Crazy. Check it out.
Regular means that all seven sides are identical. Plato described 5 platonic solids, and Steiner said there was a 6th one. He also said that the heart is not a pump. This fantastic claim was vindicated by Frank Chester, who figured out how to design a 7-sided regular form. This 6th platonic solid is now called the chestahedron, and it fits perfectly inside a cube at an angle of 36 degrees off-center to the left, the exact same angle that the heart sits in the chest. When submerged in water and spun, 2 counter-rotating vortices are formed. Recent scientific studies have shown that these 2 vortices facilitate the closing of the valves, and when the vortices don't form properly, blood clots will appear. The man who unfolded 1,000 hearts Paco Torrent Guasp, discovered that the heart is a single muscular band folded over itself in a spiraling pattern. The heart itself is a vortex of tissue. It is not a pump, it is a vortex machine. For centuries, it was believed,
yeah, you're right, non-conformista. It's not a pump. I always thought it was a pump. It's not.
Which can exist as liquid, ice, and vapor.
The heart creates a vortex. It's all about vortexes. Think about water.
We have recently learned that with water, there is a fourth state. This fourth state is called the plasma state, gel phase, exclusion zone, or structured water. And this is what pushes your blood through the entire cardiovascular system. Fueled by infrared energy from its environment, the water in our body becomes an electrical propulsion system. A certain percentage of the water in our body becomes structured water, and the rest remains normal liquid water, or bulk water. The structured water becomes negatively charged and forms the gelatinous outer walls of our capillaries, veins, and arteries. These negatively charged outer walls continuously propel the positively charged bulk water within, carrying the blood with it. This propulsion system will run indefinitely, so long as it stays charged. And the way you charge it is with the Earth's electromagnetic field, infrared energy, and positive thought. The work of Dr. Masaru Emoto has scientifically demonstrated that water exposed to loving human words and thoughts is transformed into its natural hexagonal shape. It becomes structured at a molecular level based on our positive intention. This new model shows that it is the blood that pumps the heart, not the other way around. And in order to keep the flow strong and healthy, our best medicine is to connect to the earth, get sunlight, love ourselves, and love one another with physical touch. Victor Schauberger spent his life studying water and found that in the natural world, water will always create vortices along its path. Schauberger learned that this spiral action is what structures the water in nature, and that when subjected to modern man-made water treatment, it loses its structure. Schauberger's work led him to believe that one could generate energy out of a vortex. He described it as an energy implosion, as opposed to an energy explosion. Dr. Tom Cowan, who has written about this in Human Heart, Cosmic Heart, has an interesting theory which may explain the saying, a heart of gold. Another recent discovery is that gold in its purest form does not appear to be gold at all. Under the right conditions, normal physical gold can be transformed into a fine white powder known as monatomic gold. This monatomic gold has been studied by multiple advanced laboratories, and it has very strange properties. It can be made to levitate and disappear. Monatomic gold is superconductive, and many would argue that this is what the alchemists were after. One of the ways of turning metallic gold into monatomic gold is by putting it through a high-speed vortex. When this transformation occurs, there is a flash of light and a 44% loss in weight. Dr. Cowan believes that the trace amounts of gold in our blood is transformed into monatomic gold as it travels through the double vortices in the heart, creating the spark of life.
So interesting, isn't it? And it's like I find that really interesting about the heart. Break down the word heart, earth. It's an anagram, very interesting. Ross Holtz, I just see you in the chat, brother. Scals even. Sail Away, welcome. Also Area Trance, also. Who else we got? Just in Case, welcome also. And ZYX, yeah, I think I've mentioned everybody I can. John Francis, also welcome. My voice has just started to act funny again. Anyway, talking about water, right? I got a copper water bottle, and I feel like I use it every day, all the time. And when you pour water into it, make sure that you put some loving intent into it. Hold the bottle, focus on it, give it intent, and it'll be hopefully a little bit more structured. Like, it's funny, right? I've just poured a glass of water, and I'm actually drinking Island Spring at the moment. I don't normally drink plastic bottles at all, right? Just made a glass, and I always check my water
just by looking at it. And I can see little bits in it. Tiny little bits in it. The fuck's that all about? Right, talking about vortexes, technology, that takes us on to, if my mouse actually works, honestly, it's crazy, man. I got a new mouse as well. So this takes us on to segues us into ancient Egypt. Yeah, Joe Rogan.
Whatever the Egyptians were doing, I think they were the most advanced civilization that ever existed. I don't think we could do what they did. The precision in which they built it, I really don't think we can do that. Just the symmetry of the faces of the statues is unparalleled, and they're immense. These are monstrously huge, perfectly symmetrical faces.
Right.
Their temples are insanely intricate.
They were incredibly advanced.
Incredibly advanced.
With math, with science, with technology.
Certainly with geometry. 20-ton gigantic stone blocks that were taken from a mountain 500 miles away. And no one has any idea how the fuck they got them.
Nobody has any clue.
No guesses.
Right.
There's some guesses about, oh, maybe the river system was different back then. Whatever. How are you getting that 50-ton chunk of granite out of a fucking mountain and moving it down, even with modern equipment? How are you getting it over the mountain?
Come on, don't bullshit me. Bullshit. 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 Bullshit.
Bullshit! Oh, bullshit!
It's all bullshit. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh wait, we got somebody calling in.
I'm Jimmy Savile, mate. I wrote to Jimmy Savile when I was a kid. I asked them to fix it for me, they never did. Kinda glad I never got that girl.
Next on BBC One, Prince Andrew becomes part of Jimmy Savile's dream team.
Now then, guys and gals, what have we here?
We get vaccinated, we wear masks. Screw your freedom.
Right, we're going to open up with a clip talking about dragons. This is very interesting. You know my views on dragons.
Throughout history, across all different unconnected cultures, Mayans, Romans, English, Greek, Chinese, Southern African, Northern Africa, all these different cultures, they all have paintings, pictures, depictions of large lizards with wings. But how did the Mayans and the Romans in the same time period draw dragons? Like birds, in order for an animal that large to fly, it would have had to have had hollow bones. In order for these dragons to fly, their bones, and be the size that they were depicted as, their bones would have had to be incredibly light. Thus, they would have been these hollow bird bones, which don't fossilize for the most part.
Not only do I think it's interesting, I'm 100%.
Oh, I'm a little bit of an old book whore. And because I am a firm believer in timeline deception, I actively seek out books that are older than the 1900s. Now, in my opinion, I think we've been indoctrinated since the mid-1800s. So I have a really hard time trying to find any books that are older than 1850. So anytime I go to a bookstore, there's a used bookstore here in my town, and I will sit there for at least an hour and look through every single old book, and they constantly get new ones every week. But I came across this one, and original copyright is in 1877, so that's about as close to 1850 as I have been able to get in a really long time. Spent like 3, maybe 4 hours yesterday just going through this book and reading this encyclopedia of just a plethora of knowledge from the late 1800s. Last night I read things about giants that were found and how they were buried and how much the bones weighed. They weighed like 300.
This is crazy, right? Honestly, this is nuts. I love this video. It's obviously she finds books in like charity shops, thrift shops and stuff, and the information in it, like elephants living to 400 years old, swans living to 200 years. You'll see it knowing it now. It's crazy.
Pounds. I also read that elephants lived to be 400 years old and swans were living to 200 years old. Because it is a encyclopedia of wit and wisdom, there is also some hilarious jokes and short stories and poetical. This is just the most fascinating book I have ever put my hands on. There's information in here about Egyptian things that were found on the Colorado River in the Grand Canyon, and different findings of like these people who launched a rock off a hill and it opened up a cavern in this this mountain in Utah, and it was like ancient site with mummies and like statues of every single kind of animal. And these are all collections of journals and things that people of huge historical notes and wealth have talked about and shared. So I'm going to start this TikTok channel and dedicate it to the information that I uncover in this book. And I hope your mind is as blown as I am, because this is the most incredible find I've ever had in my life, and I can't find anything about this book. So follow along, enjoy the journey.
2 secs, guys. I'm just trying to find some music. I've got so many clips in my OBS, and it's actually a little bit ridiculous. Yeah, this will do it. There we go. So, yeah. Oh, Jason isn't my mate either. Just so you know, Credo. Wink, wink. You know, I think you know. Yeah, so. Interesting. We're going to get into... Actually, let's just play it now. I've got too many clips here, and I'm kind of struggling with them a little bit. Actually, I'm going to play the sea monster map. I'll make it big and just look at the maps. Look at the maps, because the depictions of these crazy animals are crazy. I think too much going on here. Give me a minute. I'll come back in a minute.
Stephen be telling you this.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Okay, pay attention to this. This is sea monsters on medieval and Renaissance maps. This is the Library of Congress, a special presentation about this in 2013. They're just seeing it as sort of a novelty. Well, I'm seeing it as sort of a reality. Okay, sea monsters apparently were real. They're starting to wash up on the beaches, but in the ancient maps, they had lots of them, and I think I know why. It was because of the flood that killed all the giant creatures, and these were nothing more than parasites. And when the giant creatures no longer could provide for them, they started attacking ships and things, and then they went basically extinct. These are just tiny little things. The creatures I'm talking about wouldn't even have any idea those were alive inside of them or crawling on them. They would never even know that. All right, this is from my good friend Greg Morrison. He's down in the southern part of the United States, East Coast area. And here is Quetzalcoatl with the feathers. Just like
this is crazy, this map. This is near Florida.
Like it's showing, and he's eating the guy. I don't know if he's eating the guy there or not, but who knows? Could be. Now, there's another one here. You see that? That's a feather on the side of the road that he found. It's as big as this road here. And he brought me back a piece. And it broke, I think he broke it right off of here, possibly. But here is the piece. And that's the thickness of the feather. There's the top. It looks like a turkey feather. All right, and oh, there's the bottom. You see that? Or vice versa, one way or the other. But that's the thickness of the feather. And that's the color of the feather. It sure looks like it to me. So they were different sizes. That's not as big as the one of Quetzalcoatl, obviously. This may be a little chick or something. They had maps that showed every kind of sea creature you could possibly imagine. Unbelievably huge things, attacking ships. You see this green thing here? That's the dragon in the desert. That's the one in the desert. Now I have another map that shows it much clearer. But there was sea monsters all over the earth. And the reason that all these little tiny monsters showed up, which were good-sized monsters, but they were, I believe, parasites living inside the bodies of these creatures or on them, that they didn't even know they were there because they were so big. See this? Something just washed up almost identical to that. It had all these flares all over. Now, when these creatures originally died, they were literally 1,000 miles long. These could have easily been living in there, and all of a sudden they had no good food source except for maybe some ships. All right, now consider this. Give it good consideration. Don't just blow this off quick. Many, many people and animals have parasites living within them right now. You don't even know they're there. They just live within you. They're tiny compared to you. Now, if a dragon ran all the way...
To be honest, I heard there's a really big infestation problem in the Houses of Parliament at the moment. It's apparently full of parasites.
Across North Africa, over 1,000 miles long. How big would the parasite be that would be inside of him that he didn't even know was there, or even on top of him? It wouldn't know. It'd be a quarter of a mile long, wouldn't even know. It'd be certainly big enough to swallow a ship. Now, I believe when all these giant creatures died, and I think they mostly died during this event when Venus almost hit Earth, because it said it boiled the oceans and boiled the waters, and virtually everything large was cooked. And I believe that...
Brother Matthew, that's why the crystals might be on the surface, because of this hot water flood. This hot water flood, talked about it before, and it's really interesting because it explains why all these mud fossils and crystals are on the surface. If we evolved and if it was millions of years, they wouldn't be on the surface of the earth. Do give it a like, guys, it really does help me out. And if anybody wants to know the music that I'm using, join my Telegram groups. The links are on the page of my YouTube, or you can email me at ekomtv@protonmail.com, and I will send you the files that I use, so you've got the music for the show. A couple of people were asking about them, so yeah.
Although it looks like the dragon had his throat slashed, and here is the slash of his throat. I mean, it's here. And I'd say that Atlantis was right underneath, and that sure looks like a happy-looking place to me, Atlantis. And the boats are coming into it. So at one time, I believe Atlantis was there. Here's the Red Sea. All right, and there is all kinds of things going on here. Look at this stuff going on. And I don't know what anything says, but there's all kinds of things happening here. And here's a monster. I just saw a sea monster here somewhere. There's this thing here. And I imagine, here's another sea monster here. Another one over here. Now, are they sea monsters? They just fish. I don't know. But there was sea monsters wrapping around giant boats and everything else. Now, let me rotate this around so we're upside down. Because there's other ones over here. Where is it? Anytime you see something like this,
you're gonna need a bigger boat.
Going on, you don't know exactly what it is, but the dragons I do understand now. Well, I'm upside down and don't know where I'm going. Oh yeah, this is where it was all happening out here. Look at this. Now, you see these things here? I don't know if that's a border of countries or if that's where dragons were or what's going on there. But I can tell you there's some serious, maybe this is a road they put through there. I have no idea. But there certainly could be a lot of people looking into this. It's very, very well written about here. Somebody wrote some stuff on here. They're showing all kinds of people looking at, it looks like the Christ figure. Somebody put a lot of work into this, I can tell.
It's like these two. I want to talk about this right now, but it's about like these two pictures here, these two photographs in Thailand near Laos. I think Lance and Rise Above will be familiar with the area. He's spent quite a lot of time in Asia. I must like it over there. But yeah, it's these whales, man. These whales are like. How did they get there? They're on top of a cliff. There's I've got to do more research and I want to do an episode on these, but. I've showed them before, but these are nuts, man. They look like 3 sperm whales, don't they? That's what they look like. They look like sperm whales. How did they get on top of a cliff? Doesn't make sense, does it? Really doesn't. It's nuts. Interesting, though.
Look at that. Look at this. This is Iceland. Now look at the creatures here. Look at these things. They even have them C, D, E, and they have them somewhere. They must tell what they are. No.
Right, little music break. So we've got a good song coming on, and it's really good. So I'm going to turn it up and have a 5-minute break.
aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
He can go about his business.
You can go about your business.
Move along.
Move along.
If people are insulting you, you learn to not let it attack or even move your ego. In the beginning it's hard, but why would you ever let somebody else take away your life quality just by insulting you?
Billions of people just living out their lives, oblivious. Did you know that the first Matrix was designed to be a perfect human world where none suffered, where everyone would be happy? It was a disaster. No one would accept the program. Entire crops were lost. Some believed that we lacked the programming language to describe your perfect world, but I believe that as a species, human beings define their reality through misery and suffering. So the perfect world was a dream that your primitive cerebrum kept trying to wake up from.
This clip is so interesting. I'm going to play a few more clips, okay? It really describes what we're living through and how this AI is here and it seems to be running things a little bit. Check it.
Which is why the Matrix was redesigned to this, the peak of your civilization. And I say your civilization because as soon as we started thinking for you, it really became our civilization, which is, of course, what this is all about. Evolution, Morpheus. Evolution. Like the dinosaur. Look out that window. You had your time. The future is our world, Morpheus. The future is our time.
What are they doing to him? They're breaking into his mind. It's like hacking a computer. All it takes is time. How much time? Depends on the mind, but eventually it'll crack, and his alpha patterns will change from this to this.
I'd like to share a revelation that I've had during my time here. It came to me when I tried to classify your species. I realized that you're not actually mammals. Every mammal on this planet instinctively develops a natural equilibrium with the surrounding environment, but you humans do not. You move to an area and you multiply, and multiply until every natural resource is consumed. And the only way you can survive is to spread to another area.
It's so interesting, isn't it? Right, so get back into the parasites. We're going to play you now another one of Roger Spur's videos. I've got too many clips tonight. I should have cleared a load out of my OBS because it's made things a little bit complicated when I'm looking for what I need to look at. Right, we've watched that one. There's too many to look at. I'll put this on for a sec.
This is something that affects every single living human, in fact every single living organism on the face of the earth. You could be leading a healthy lifestyle, you could be jogging, eating raw food, taking vitamins and all those kind of things, but these guys don't care. These guys are persistent, they're dangerous, they're deadly, they've been around for millions of years, they know what they're doing, and they're inside of all of us, and we're constantly being exposed to this going on, and it's going on inside every one of us, and this is something that we all need to take very seriously.
This is not science fiction. This is scary, it's real, and it's serious.
serious. Monsters living inside us that eat our bodies and control our emotions, urges, and thoughts.
As a colon hydrotherapist for approximately 21 years now, you wouldn't believe what I see coming out of people's bodies.
This is not just a third world country thing. Everybody has them. Even normal people with lots of money living in suburbia who take showers 3 times a day. If you eat sushi, you have parasites. 1 square inch of raw sushi meat can contain 10,000 parasite larvae and eggs that begin hatching inside you the minute you eat it. The most common kind is tapeworms, which can grow to 60 feet long and live in your intestines for decades. If you have pets, you are guaranteed to have parasites. It doesn't matter if you're vegetarian, raw foodist, vegan, or macrobiotic.
But just gave him some connections issues. So the mark about his dog eating poop. And it's like these, like, don't let dogs lick your face. Honestly, it's so bad. It's really not a good thing to do, I think. But that's really interesting, that little video. And yeah, it's nuts. So, next video, parasites. More parasites, I'm afraid. It's a short video though. Chance to get my clip sorted out.
Parasites! Parasites! Parasites lead some of the strangest lives on the planet. They are also among the most widespread groups of organisms. Whether you love them or hate them or don't know anything about them, they play a great role in the world's ecosystem and even economy. How did you learn all this, you might ask? The answer is simple. Come with me on a fascinating journey to find out more about the amazing lives of the disgusting creatures that you and I know as parasites. Disgusting? Disgusting is just a word. And you too will learn to forget about it after you've seen what I've seen.
Here I am, waiting to find out more about parasites. But before me, what do other people think about these creatures? Alright, so I wonder what people think about parasites. So I've decided to ask all of my friends at my dorm. What do you girls think about parasites?
It depends on the... No, parasites are bad, no.
Parasites? They're bugs.
Oh, such a bore.
About parasites or in general?
Parasites.
My boyfriend is a parasite. Parasites are everywhere in all the surfaces, and if I start worrying too much about them, then I won't really have, a decent life.
Well, are the parasites bad? And they're not. They're a part of the world, so...
As you can see, the outlook isn't very good. That's why I'm here in the Natural History Museum, to learn it from the experts.
Who is it that you're here to see?
Eileen Harris.
Oh, yeah. I remember, they're coming now.
Hi,
Hey there.
good to see Eileen.
Yeah, it's me, Memo.
Oh yeah, I'm Emma.
Nice to meet you.
I work with Eileen.
Okay, I'm here to, maybe she's told you about it, shoot this documentary about parasites and all
Only
that.
a little bit, yes, sounds exciting.
This long way led to the Darwin Center, where innumerable organisms from all around the world are collected and categorized. Among them are parasites too.
Hello, Eileen.
Hello, ma'am.
Have your visitor. Hello. Where would you like to film?
Here actually. What would you say that the public perception of parasites is like?
The public perception of parasites is that they are something yucky and horrible and nasty, but they're not. Well, they can be a little bit. Every single organism in the world has its own parasitic worm. Everything from insects right up to blue whales. This one is my favourite worm. This is a giant tapeworm. Okay? Name Diphlebothrium polyrugosum. Okay, it's a scientific name. It comes from a killer whale, which was stranded on the coast of Devon, and that is one worm. It is enormous. Okay, they go up to 40 or 50 meters in length. I've never actually measured this one, but it is very, very large.
I get crazy, you understand?
And this worm and I have been absolutely everywhere together. The children love them. Children love parasitic worms actually because they have a very high yuck factor. And for one children's program, I actually took the top off and got a fork and did it that way. And they said, "Oh, vermicelli, pasta."
I later learned that some people take the vermicelli metaphor literally.
The natives in Papua New Guinea, if they kill an opossum or something for their lunch, they will eat the tapeworms that are found in the animal as well. They don't have the same sort of attitude to them as we do. In fact, one of the tapeworms is actually called edulis, which means edible. Sorry, esculenta, which means edible.
No matter how nice they taste, I also learned that some worms do quite freaky things to their hosts.
This, for example, is a fish. Okay, but if you look carefully, and you probably can see it, sticking out of the fish is a tapeworm. Now it grows to a reasonable size in that roach. Now that parasite doesn't want to stay there. It wants to get into a fish-eating bird. So it alters the behaviour of the fish to make it more likely to be eaten. So it makes that fish swell up and swim near the surface of the water so that it's much more likely to be eaten by a bird than any of the others.
Do you know what? That's so interesting, right? Because I was talking to Mark Pajerski about this, and I was talking about toxoplasmosis, the cat and the mouse, and the ant. The ant. There's another parasite, a very small one, that infects insects, and it actually takes over their brain, and it makes the ant climb up the blade of grass, and then a cow eats it, and then the parasite gets back to the cow's stomach where it reproduces, and we start again. This intelligence, this strategy comes from somewhere, and it's very interesting. I want to know where it comes from. Something weird about it.
As awesome as these examples are, being a parasite is not about being a disgusting worm living in a fish's body, or the clothes we wear, or the music we listen to. No, parasitism is a way of life, and creatures as different as copepods, isopods, or even our close relatives, the fish, have evolved a parasitic lifestyle independently. To better examine this diversity, let's take a look at a bunch of parasites. Our first guest is a kind of copepod, a crustacean that has an eye for eyes.
Hi.
Okay, hello there.
Hi there. Hi. Whatever. Okay, cool. And this is the animal, isn't it?
Yeah,
Oops.
that's the merchandise.
Yeah, okay. Well, these are parasitic copepods, Omatacoita elongata. They're quite big for parasitic copepods. This is a specialist parasite in the eye of the Greenland shark, and it's extremely common. They're hugely abundant. There are 100 copepods on the planet for every insect, and they have switched from free-living lifestyles, which is the ancestral lifestyle, into a parasitic lifestyle in numerous different occasions. The fact that it's happened repeatedly must mean there's a huge advantage to it. Well, obviously, there's a fantastic food source readily available for a parasite. And for me, I'm interested in behavioural aspects as well. So most copepods have an array of sensors that say, there's a fish coming, you better escape. A little fish parasite, it has an array of sensors, same array of sensors. Evolution gave it that basic equipment. These sensors say there's a fish coming, but its response to that signal is different. turns towards it because a fish represents food to a parasite, whereas to the vast majority of copepods, fish is the enemy because it can eat them. So a really interesting behavioural change, and how that might have come about is a fascinating subject for study.
Sounds strange? Well, your eyes aren't the only part of your face that parasites are after. Here, we have a very interesting isopod, a relative of your garden pillbug that goes for your tongue.
Hello, man.
Hi.
This is Memo.
Hi, Miranda. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you that one. So it's this one. I don't know if you can see it very clearly in there. Isopods are basically the scientific term for, let's say, woodlice. For terrestrial isopods, people use the common term woodlice, and for anything that's marine or living in the water, they call them isopods. If you come close up, you can actually see they have little hooks on the end of each leg there, and so that's used because they're parasitic to grip on the tongue surface. Usually the females are there for breeding purposes and actually sort of gnaw away at the tongue, and so whenever the fish is feeding, also this parasite is living in sort of symbiotically and getting food also. Back in 2005 they caused a bit of a stir here because somebody had actually bought a red snapper from the supermarket. I think this person was living in Lewisham, a part of South London, and sort of after the cooking process they kind of sat down to eat this thing and realised in the mouth there were one of these tongue-eating isopods. So it caused a bit of a stir in the media, like the Metro free newspaper.
What attraction do you think the parasitic life has for isopods or other creatures?
Well, it's a mechanism of survival, isn't it? And breeding purposes is great. You've got another organism to, while you're laying your eggs and breeding to house it for you. Mm-hmm. So protecting you from any sort of extreme environments. So I think it's very beneficial. Every organism has to live, and unfortunately sometimes you live on another organism to survive. That's just the way life is, I think.
But strange invertebrates aren't the only kinds of parasites around. Some of them are actually very close cousins of ours. Well, a fish may not look like a human, but unlike all other parasites, it's got a backbone. And perhaps because it's so close to us, these fish go for a very intimate part of your body. Let's take a look.
Sorry, Eileen just sent us down quickly to pick up a fish, if that's all right.
Yeah. Hello, sir.
Hey.
Hi, a kangaroo, yeah?
That's
Yeah.
brilliant. Ah.
They're not very big.
Oh, yeah.
The parasitic catfish is so named because they parasitize other fishes feeding on blood and skin, and very often attached to the gills, which are rich in blood, and drink the blood from there. Sometimes they actually enter the tissues of the fish, they bore their way in, drill their way in, and this is another way of feeding on the flesh and the blood. They are notorious and feared for being parasitic occasionally on humans, because these small catfish with pointed heads can swim into the urethra of bathers. They've got backward facing spines on their gills, and then it's said that if they've swum into the penis or vagina of a swimmer, a human swimmer, that surgical removal is sometimes the only option. It's obviously to be feared for being a human parasite, and particularly for attacking the genitals. This makes it a sort of a proper rounded horror story, and this one might horrify us, but it's only a little fish. It's not really as bad as it's painted. Parasitism is a very profitable way of life for a lot of creatures, and it's possibly the only vertebrate parasite, they say. Clearly you don't see parasitism cropping up in the vertebrates as a group very often, and perhaps that's because of their advanced body plans. They're sort of committed more to a vertebrate way of life, and you've probably got to be quite flexible with your developmental processes and
body parts in order to be a successful parasite. It's a lovely example of diversity.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for your time.
Not at all.
As soon as they mentioned diversity, I've had enough. So, yeah, I just wanted to show that because it gets into the nitty-gritty of parasites. And this is a very interesting video here. It's the guy talking about parasite detoxes, and he mentions that they're pretty common knowledge, but check them out.
Is oil number 1, mix of honey and papaya seeds. Choose 3, take them for 2 weeks, follow for more. The 7 best parasite killer foods. Number 7, beets. Number 6, pumpkin seeds. Number 5, pomegranate arrows. Number 4, cloves of garlic. Number 3, wormwood. Number 2, anise oil. Number 1, mix of honey and papaya seeds. Choose 3, take them for 2 weeks, follow for more.
Interesting. Papaya seeds are actually quite hard to get. I've actually looked. You can get them, but you want organic ones as well. This also, anybody that eats pork, David Clues, if you're watching, Toxic Piggies, check them out.
On why pork is forbidden in Islam and Christianity you didn't know about. 1. Pigs carry about 30 diseases which can easily be passed to humans. This is why Allah commanded us to not even touch their carcass. 2. Pigs are garbage guts. They'll eat their own feces and drink their own urine. 3. The pig is the only mammal that does not sweat, leaving the sweat and toxins to merge in its flesh. 4. When a pig dies, the maggots, bacteria, and insects eat its flesh faster than any other animal. 5. There is no safe temperature at which pork can be cooked to ensure that all these parasites and cysts will be killed.
That's the key there. Even if you cook pork, you can't kill the cysts. So, yeah, it's not a very good thing to eat, I don't think. And digressing, but I'm going to show you probably the next Prime Minister of the UK. Check this out. This is a psyop, what I'm about to show you, right? Psyop.
My dad was a toolmaker. My dad was a toolmaker. He was skilled as a toolmaker.
My daddy was a toolmaker.
And your dad, I think it's right to say, was a toolmaker?
He was a toolmaker, yeah. Dad was a toolmaker. My dad was a toolmaker.
And he was a toolmaker. He was a skilled man. And it's hard work, it's skilled work.
My dad, he was a toolmaker. My dad was a toolmaker. My dad was a toolmaker.
My daddy was a toolmaker. What I like, he just keeps saying it all the time. It's like his wife's Israeli, and it's just like, oh, seriously. This whole realm is summed up by this.
Thinking you did the bad one. Be funny if we both got it wrong, eh? If I did the good thing and you did the bad one.
No. Wouldn't be funny at all.
Oh, this is going to be a fabulous time. I'm telling you, you are going to freak out. Fossils of terrifying monster sea lizard found in Morocco. All right, and they're talking about this gigantic, terrifying monster. Look at his head with all these. Well, guess what? They talked about these things in ancient past too. All right, here's the deal. In ancient past, they had drawings of all of these kind of monsters attacking ships, and everywhere. They were everywhere in the oceans and in the seas. And they had tons of drawings of them and portrayals and stories of how they ate ships and everything else. They were huge. Just like look at this one here. The thing is eating a ship. Now, they weren't kidding about this stuff either. This was actually happening. And it was due to these creatures like they just found in Morocco. Well, where did those creatures come from? Why are they? I can tell you where they come from. You're gonna another time. Get ready. It's gonna freak you out. Okay, I'm being very serious, extremely deadly serious. Every creature, even you, has parasites. They're in your blood. They're on you. They're everywhere. And they're tiny little things. You don't even know they're there. We don't have any idea they're there. You know, you go in and get tested in the hospital to see if you have these.
Audrey B, that's a very good point. Andrew, Prince Andrew, old Piggy Andrew doesn't sweat. How interesting. Isn't that interesting? Good spot.
Only the things that they would have would be gigantic. So where would they go when that creature died?
Neo Drifter, welcome.
Okay, my friends, pay close attention because I am shedding a completely new light on sea serpents. Mythology is loaded with them. I mean, it's saturated with sea serpents from everywhere around the world. They have drawings of them, paintings everywhere. This was not myth. They were there. Now, a sea serpent or sea dragon is a type of dragon sea monster described in various mythologies, most notably Mesopotamian with Tiamat and the Leviathan and so forth, and Jormungandr in the Norse and the Greek they all had the same stories of a giant dragon. Now, this is what I am going to show you in a second, is the chief god, the top god in the role of the hero slaying a sea serpent is widespread in ancient Near East and Indo-European mythology. All right, and it's Leviathan, Yahweh, Tiamat, Marduk, all of those things. These were the original gods. And one of them was a dragon, for absolutely certain. And that was Typhon. And I'm going to show you Typhon, and then I'm going to tell you that Typhon was the source of all of these sea serpents. Now, this wasn't an isolated case. They were everywhere. They were eating ships. They were eating people. There were all kinds of different crazy-looking monsters that were in the oceans. And they were eating people. They were eating ships. They were just crazy things. And everybody was drawing pictures of what they had seen and recounting what they were coming up against. Now, they only started really running into these a lot as the merchant shipping started. Before that, they don't seem to be recorded quite as much. All right, I know this is hard to believe, but these are parasites. These kind of things are in you and on creatures. They crawl around on you. They're all kind of crazy looking things. And if they were huge, you'd call them monsters. Absolutely. Look at that thing. Look at this thing over here. And that they're everywhere on a creature's body. You just don't even know they're there. Most creatures have them, and nobody knows they're there because they're just so tiny compared to the creature. And the same thing that we're seeing in the dragon. The dragon's over 1,000 miles long. So let me just show you something that's right here in my yard. That could crush one of these sea monsters with its hand. Right, remember we talked about the terrifying giant sea little monster. Well, here it is right here. That's his head. Now, I have a body part from a giant human being, and it's been DNA tested, so there's no question about it, and it's anatomically perfect, and the DNA that came out of it was excellent quality. And its thumb, or its finger, it's actually a finger tip. This much of a fingertip is 3 feet long. So I don't know what this is, maybe 5 feet long. Just one fingertip. You can grab a hold of that thing and crush its head just like a tick. And that's the giant that's in my yard. Okay. Take your time and look at this carefully. This is a fingertip. That's the front of the fingertip. That's the back where that pad bumps right into the next bone, and they rub against that so it doesn't scrub on bone to bone. These are the blood supplies. This is literally the fingernail. Just take your time and look at it. It's a little bit eroded down in this area, but it's quite obviously the fingernail. And I broke this piece right off here because you can't get DNA out of what they call grip skin. It's dense and there's no DNA. So I had to break this piece off. And when it came off, the fingerprints came with it. Now don't forget, this is the curve of the fingernail. And I went bam with a big heavy duty hammer, It popped right off like it was just glued on. Okay, I told you I have a huge human body parts. I have several parts.
I'm just gonna skip forward a little bit.
Well, I have a lot of it from this, to be honest with you. It's laying all over. Okay, this. Get the other one. I think I can show you.
This is where I want to show the dragon again, because the dragon is like so interesting in the Sahara.
Of the underneath of the finger tip. And there's red blood in there. I could show you that. I could turn it more red. But this is the kind of really gnarly stuff that makes up grip skin. Really tough stuff. Alright, before we get too deep, I want you to know this is where the dragon is. And this is a gigantic dragon. And this is exactly what Apollodorus wrote. Now, I outlined them here, so you come back to this picture if you need to. This is his throat, runs all the way down to his body, which I will show you in a minute when I wipe off all this stuff. His throat runs here. There's all kinds of armored scales all the way down. This flashy, fluty stuff is the kind of thing you see in the parades in China and all over Asia. He has the red flared eye, all kinds of trailing stuff hanging off and feathers, and it looks like to me, and hair and whatever. This is the runoff of a dead, decomposing.
I just want to show you some pictures while he's playing this video. I won't go on the screen because it'll shorten the screen down, but somebody did this gorilla, right? This gorilla is just crazy. It looks so much like a gorilla. Look, I mean, like, you know, we can say that Google Maps with the dragon, they could be messing around with this, but I don't know, man. It's pretty deep to be messing around with this, with the fish and the dragon, and then you got all these rocks, this biogeology, these mountains, and there's some really distinctive shapes in the mountains. Like there's a snake here, look. Like that looks like a snake. This skin, doesn't it? It can't be anything else. It's huge. It's huge. It's crazy. And we got this one here. It's like a iguana or a dragon or something. Oh, strange, isn't it? All these giant animals, like these giant trees. That's a really good picture of a tree. There's actually quite a lot of good stuff on Facebook, surprisingly. But yeah, it's really interesting. It's like, oh, this is the iguana. Now, that head looks so much like an iguana, doesn't it? It really does. You see the eye, the teeth. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? It's all there.
Body, it's called effluent. The red and the black is the colors of blood. And he bled out in the desert and died due to a gash recorded in history.
This photo as well, this is just crazy. Look, it's in the ocean off the coast of Egypt, apparently. Like, it's crazy. But we all trust the history we're given to us, don't we?
It's all recorded. He was trying to kill this fish, which I will show you the fish after I wipe everything off. All of this stuff is really nasty toxins. And I will show you, it comes out of the dragon's beard. Alright, so remember this shot, come back to it if you need to. Okay, here's the same picture without any of the highlights. Remember, I said that's his nose, it comes up, there's his flary little red eye. This is his throat that runs all the way down. Let's zoom in on his throat. Alright, you see that? That's the throat right there running down. You see that? It just continues all the way down to his gut. And protecting that throat are these armored scales. And they run all the way down to his gut as well. And they are being eroded off. You see this is running out between the scales? And this is way down, oh, this is about 800 feet lower than it is up here, because it died on top of the earth. This is not that long ago. Now these are plated in chunks so that he could move his neck up and down. This is Typhon. And it runs all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. And you see all that flashy, fluty looking stuff on the side. And right there is a gash. And that was written about. Very, very well recorded in the Greek myths. What happened was they had this encounter and Zeus cut his throat. And red blood creates the greenest green there is. And that is red blood running out into the desert, and it still has the remnants of the red blood, which is, and here it is right here, running into the desert. All right, the black is the vein blood. This is not as productive. Well, it's not productive at all, to be honest with you, that I can find. Nothing seems to grow well in this except lichen. But the red blood, whew, it grows like anything, like real reds. All the green moss basically just loves red blood. So here we are, there's the head. All right, remember the head I showed you, the red eye is right there. See it flaming back, and that's exactly what Apollodorus said. He said, this exactly what I'm going to show you is exactly identical to what Apollodorus wrote. The neck goes all the way down, and this is the body, and the tail runs all the way across the top. The two legs look almost like the thighs of a human. Now let's go look and see what Apollodorus said. Okay, this is what the ancient Greeks wrote, and this was Apollodorus. He was about 200 BC, and he was an excellent scholar, but they reject him because of all this insane stuff he talks about. And Hercules shooting people with arrows in the eyes, and Zeus, and the lust for Hera, and all this crazy stuff. I mean, it literally is crazy. And Hephaestus, and Poseidon, all of this stuff was real. As far as I can concern now, it was all real. And now we get to the point of the gods. And here's what he destroyed with thunderbolts, and all of them Hercules shot with arrows as they were dying. All right, so when the gods had overcome the giants, Earth, still more enraged, Earth, Gaia herself, had intercourse with Hell, which is Tartarus, and brought forth Typhon, that dragon I'm showing you in the desert. He was a hybrid between man and beast, in size and strength surpassed all the offspring of Earth. He was absolutely gigantic, over 1,000 miles long. As far as the thighs, as his legs I just showed you, he was of human shape. They were looking like human legs. And of such prodigious bulk, he outtopped all the mountains, and his head often brushed the stars. Even just barely standing up, he would have been twice as high as the space station. Now you can read all this stuff. This was all kinds of, he was being attacked by Zeus and pelted Typhon with thunderbolts, and that's how he cut his throat. All right, I forgot to mention this part. His body was all winged, and unkempt hair streamed all down the back on the wind from his head and cheeks. Fire flashed from his eyes, the red stuff I showed you. So great was Typhon. Fire shot when he hurled kindled rocks. He was crazy. He made for the very heavens with hissing and shouts, spouting a great jet of fire from his mouth. When the gods saw him rushing at heaven, they made for Egypt in flight, and being pursued, they changed their forms into those of animals. And then Zeus pelted Typhon from a distance with thunderbolts and killed him. All right, they have ancient pottery showing this form of a dragon with coils after having the legs of, well, actually the Gnostics had this as their logo. I'll show you that in a second. But this is where the coils came way out. I mean, this thing was just unbelievable. And it covered all of North Africa. And I'll wipe this down and then we'll take a look. And I'm going to focus in at the skin. I think it might have even been up here. I don't know. It was.
Do you know why everything might have been so big, right? Check this out, right? This video, radium and giants, right? This is why everything might have been so
And
big.
radium, when exposed to a person, or animals, or insects, or frogs, or birds, or anything else, they start to grow 3 times the size. So then you start to sit there and think about, okay, if radium can make a frog grow 3 times the size, or an animal grow 3 times the size, or a plant grow 3 times the size, then what would it do with a human? And maybe the radium connects back into that. And somebody just said we lost the radium and we shrunk. Yes, that's probably what happened. As the Rockefellers rolled out this electricity grid, look outside your windows right now and tell me how much electricity is all near your home. You'll see your whole house and your whole land is gridded. Why is your land gridded? It's because that electricity, and now radio frequencies as well, diminish the life force of the earth and us. So it starts to make us smaller over time. Honey, we shrunk the kids. There you go, there's another one. So now if we reverted back and we brought back the radium and we get rid of all the Rockefeller dirty electricity, we could bring back everything to be bigger. Giant pumpkins, giant people, giant animals. You know, when they say, talking about how dragons used to exist?
We had some giant coils. And maybe they went up this way and that way and over this way and everywhere. But these are definitely the coils. Now don't lose track of the fact that the bodily fluids drained out into the ocean from a lot of these creatures. They drained right into the ocean. And they had the parasites with them. That's what the sea monsters were. Now, here's his legs, the thighs. Coming down here, let's look close at what this is, because this, you know, some of it's obscured, but down here you can see that is actually like leather. It's like ostrich hide. All right, that's not just an accidental sand dunes and so forth. This was exactly what they claimed by Apollodorus. And this was his viper coils that came swishing way around. Now, I don't know if way up by the head they're the same things. This could just be runoff of blood, and I think that is. See up here, it's just a runoff of blood. Not the same stuff. All right, but the other side is the same stuff. So all of this is just runoff. And that's all blood running off in here too. Now over here though, same coils. You see how they're watching when I get down in close. I don't think these are just sand dunes.
What would your inner Stephen be telling you?
I think this was, it's eroded, but it eroded because everything ran off when I believe Atlantis collapsed. Let's see if we can see any better shot up here. A lot of this is just digging around until you find something and look, and just you got to keep looking and looking. I find that kind of interesting, the patterns there. I don't think that's just... Give it a second to hone in. Well, anyway, if you want to dig around and look around, he was trying to attack this fish. And I believe these are some of his tentacles,
that's
or
why,
whatever you
right,
want to call them.
That's why I think the world is way bigger than we think, because the size of the dragon and the fish, they can inhabit this realm that we live in. For sure, there is more land that we're not told about.
He was attacking the fish. There's no question he spit out stuff at that fish. I don't know. I guess I didn't show you the toxins yet. But see, this is more into your leathery stuff. And you see that? Now, at the same time he was grabbing them, trying to hold him, he was spitting at him. And up here is where all the stuff came out of his throat. Now remember I showed you the throat comes up like this and all that fluty stuff. And coming down here, there's the dragon's beards. They have these beards. It appears to me the ones I found seem to have them. And what it looks like to me is they are the source of these toxins. You see those toxins? That's not average just runoff in the desert. You see that? That is some serious chemistry, and it does not look like you want to be playing around in there. Now, what did he do? He spit it down. And where it was down, down was onto that fish's fin. And here is the fish's fin. Now, I don't know what this black thing is, so forget that. But I believe this was the fish's eye, and here's the fin, the scales all over. It's a huge fish. And again, I can't account for what they're doing here. I don't know where they came from or how they got here and how they lived here. What they ate, I can't account for any of that. But this is his tail, and he's being grabbed by the dragon and then spit at. And that spit is coming all the way down. I just showed you how nasty it is. And it doesn't get any unnastier. Down here, it pretty much starts to combust. And it's starting to do all kinds of toxic things. This is chemistry on steroids. Now, it comes down and it hits his fin, and it eats into his fin something terrible. And then, after going through the fin layers here, it hits his vital flesh. This is what you call the vital flesh. The fins are not the same. But here, it starts killing off all the blood vessels. You see that? That's not just rivers and valleys. Those are blood vessels. Now the black parts are returns. Those are the veins. The red is the blood supply. All right. Again, that's not just just hills and valleys. And you see, now it starts to go into the vital flesh down here. We're not into that Death Valleys area. We come back up here. As soon as you come out into here, it's dead. And it's dead because of what the dragon spit at it. Now, either we could just walk around in circles and not believe any of this, and keep your eyes closed and your ears shut. It's up to you. But what I'm saying is, off of this here, all of this stuff running out into the ocean ran off of this dead dragon. And there was nothing to eat down here. They decided, well, the guy's not eating anymore, so let's go in the ocean and see what we can find.
This is where the theory of the sea monsters being parasites. Look at the photo on screen now. Well, not photo, it's an animation, a drawing. But look at a tapeworm on the left, and the one on the right, I think it's like a whipworm or a tapeworm. They're both they look like parasites. And years in the ocean after the giants died, they got big, and all these sea monsters attacking ships. There's something to it. It's crazy.
And that's where they lived, in the ocean after that. And then they were killed off by the mariners, the best they could. And they probably died from not having anything to eat, I don't know. And they're still around. Some of them they're still washing up here and there. They're finding them. They look crazy. And everybody ignores them, but they still could be real. Who knows? Okay, last word. Sea serpents, in my mind, were real, and they were like parasites and little amoebas and things that are in your body that are living in you. And then if you were a giant dragon like that, 1,000 miles long, over that, they had to go somewhere to eat, and they went in the oceans. And then when the boats started to go out in big numbers, they started to attack them. And everybody was writing about it. All right, this is the world we're living in right now. It's a refusal of reality, and it's all the way across the board. The politicians everywhere. Reality means nothing anymore, and it's a disaster. Here's gigantic bones. Ancient Greeks told stories of the giants that were true, describing them as flesh and blood creatures who lived and died, whose bones could be found coming out of the ground where they were buried long ago. Indeed, even today, large and surprisingly human-like bones can be found in Greece. Modern scientists understand such bones to be the remains of mammoths and mastodons. Woolly rhinoceroses once lived in that region. But the ancient Greeks were largely stupid and unfamiliar with these massive animals. Idiots. Many believed that the enormous bones they found were the remains of human-like giants. Well, guess what? They were. Any non-human traits in the bones were thought to be due to the grotesque anatomical features of giants. And yes, they were.
Sorry, my mouse is acting funny. Right, I'm going to play you a clip from Lord of the Rings. It's what's his name, Gandalf and the other wizard. But watch this clip, right? Because it what's happening in the world right now, it links exactly to what's happening right now. It's very funny.
You are sure of this?
Beyond any doubt.
So the Ring of Power has been found.
All these long years, it was in the Shire. Under my very nose.
And yet you did not have the wit to see it. Your love of the halfling's leaf has clearly slowed your mind.
But we still have time. Time enough to counter Sauron if we act quickly.
Time? What time do you think we have? Sauron has regained much of his former strength. He cannot yet take physical form, but his spirit has lost none of its potency.
Concealed within his fortress, the Lord of Mordor sees all. His gaze pierces cloud, shadow, earth, and flesh. You know of what I speak, Gandalf.
A great eye, lidless, wreathed in flame. The hour is later than you think. Sauron's forces are already moving.
It reminds me of like Lucifer, whoever he is, where like, you know, it's deep, man. It's deep what we're living through. And I think it's quite hard on a lot of people as well. So, another clip I play nearly every week because this is so important, and even this statement is disgusting because we have to live in a world where detoxification is more important than nutrition.
Or, you know, we're in a toxic loaded environment. My cousin has been saying this for a while. He says, you know, detoxification might be more important than nutrition these days. And that's a really, really powerful statement. If you grasp what that means that, my God, what are we subjected to on a daily basis? And so for me, we have to take it into our commitment for our lives to step forward and find solid truths that work with us and get back to the fundamentals. And look, no, you don't have to do that, but this is just you and I riffing and where my advice comes. There's no one out there that's going to save you. The medical system's not going to save you. This supplement's not going to save you. That doesn't work that way. You have to build foundational health in your mind, body, and soul. You have to have a practice. You have to have rituals. We seem to have become so lazy that just seeing somebody else do a ritual, that kind of takes it up for us. There's something
like,
to
you
that.
meditate? Perfect. I don't have to.
Right. Like, just knowing someone else is doing the work or is out there doing it kind of satisfies us.
First on BBC One, Prince Andrew becomes part of Jimmy Savile's dream team.
I'm Jimmy Savile, mate. I wrote to Jimmy Savile when I was a kid. I asked him to fix it for me, but he never did. Kinda glad I never got that girl.
Right guys, my mouse is giving me some issues here, so I'm going to start winding down and go play a couple of songs. And actually, this video first.
We all know what this is. Right?
This.
Look at all the substations.
This was me in work. I was walking to the shop and I could hear some fans inside these substation units, which means they're pumping out some power. And, you know, for communications, 5th generation 5G is not the signal, it's the technology, it's a generation of communications. And these were buzzing so much, man. Listen, nuts. There's a lot of power going up to this tower.
Look at all the substations for this one communication tower. Why all the substations 400 volts, 230 volts? Why all the power if it's just for phones? Look at that, look. I've never seen so many. That is, even here. Hear the cooling units going, the fans are going, which means there's a lot of power going up to that. I've talked about this before when I was on the motorway a couple of years ago. The cables going up to, you can't see any cables on this one, but the one I looked at before, there was cables this fucking thick, 30 odd cables. Since when do phones need so much power? They don't. Radiation does so.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Now then, guys and gals, what have we here?
It's interesting.
My dad was a toolmaker. He was skilled as a toolmaker, highly skilled.
And your dad, I think it's right to say, was a toolmaker.
He was a toolmaker, yeah. Dad was a toolmaker. My dad was a toolmaker.
And he was a toolmaker. He was a skilled man. And it's hard work, it's skilled work.
My dad, he was a toolmaker. My dad was a toolmaker. My dad was a toolmaker.
My daddy was a toolmaker.
Yaga yaga yo, yaga yaga yo, yaga 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 yo, yaga yaga yo, yaga yaga yo, yaga 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 yo. I'm in love with you, I'm in love with you. Yaga yaga yo, yaga yaga yo, yaga 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 yo. I just can't deny, can't tell no lie. You're no one that I love, no one that I love. I can't stop loving you. I made up my mind to live in memories of your love sometime. I can't stop wanting you. It's useless to say, so I'll just live my life with dreams of yesterday. Come on, baby, give me no. Give me no. Woman, the way me love you, no time for sell you. I'm the man you can trust, no need for act so. I just can't do without you kissing and you hugging. Love you more than the thing below your belly button. We no live dirty life, so this no need mapping. Make bad mind keep on watching. Me nah give away me woman, I end up with nothing. Everybody needs somebody to give good loving. So make them talk, make them talk. You are the right queen for the king. I can't stop loving you. I made up my mind to live in memories of your love sometime. I can't stop wanting you. It's useless to say, so I'll just live my life with dreams of yesterday. Yes, I miss you, man. Yes, I miss you, man. You are the only thing me love next door to God. Yes, I miss you, man. Yes, I miss you. Me like me feel best part of me happiness. Full attention, never give me nothing less. When you're not around, me body gather stress. Still I can't invite in another guest. I just can't ignore your kindness. Oh man, you are the finest. You treat me like a royal highness. So I can't stop loving you. I made up my mind to live in memories of your love sometime. I can't stop wanting you. It's you.
Oh, Queenie's gone, isn't she? Do you miss her? I don't.
So I'll just live my life with dreams of yesterday.
Get into the Illuminati, cause we wanna get invited to the coolest parties. By subtly communicating hidden symbology, soon we'll be part of a secret society.
Hollywood will open up its doors for us. We'll meet the inner circle of executives.
We'll give a guy a wristy in a warm jacuzzi, and the guy will put us in a Disney movie.
Then they'll play our music on MTV. We'll be given designer clothes for free.
And we can drive everywhere DUI, cause we'll be under the protection of the all-seeing eye.
And we'll never have to worry about bills again, cause the Rockefeller family will be our best friends.
We'll fuck a squirrel and finger a fish, and triangle, triangle, eye, pyramid. You can be rich and famous too.
I love the establishment, yay! We want to get into the Illuminati, and we want to hang out with Jay-Z and Beyonce.
We want to sell our souls in 1 billion records and bow before our reptilian overlords.
Then the enlightened few will bring us into the fold,
where we'll be told secrets of old,
like why the CIA killed JFK,
and why on earth the moon landing was fake.
Being Illuminati will be so much fun. We'll learn the truth about Area 51.
They'll tell us where Flight MH370 is and which politicians like to fuck kids.
We'll get 1 million followers on Instagram. We'll have the whole wide world in our hearts.
The Rothschilds will take us to Bohemian Grove, where it's likely that we'll both be murdered and cloned.
Let's manipulate the economy.
War is good for humanity. We'll be given the keys to unlock the Bible, and we'll become Lucifer's loyal disciples. We'll pray to Baphomet and the princes of hell.
We'll bathe in pig's blood and cut ourselves
under the blood moon, beneath Satan's radiant energy, before the Dark Lord Lucifer himself. I invoke the 4 crowned princes of hell, inviting the forces of darkness to bestow their knowledge and power upon me. I, your faithful servant, promise to hide triangles in things, perform at the Grammys and tell people the earth is round. From this day forth, I'll do whatever it takes to thwart globalism, multinational corporations, the establishment, and the military-industrial complex. I love fracking, it's the best. Let's go for some pizza.
What flavor?
Kitty flavor. We're gonna get assassinated for making this video.
More like initiated.
Mouse has had it, so I'm gonna finish up now. Play the outro. It's Max Hagen and Chevron Jefferia. Hope everybody's enjoyed the show. Love you all, and yeah, I'll see you again next week for Mark Pajerski interview.
The thing is, the world is changing. The world is changing. Everything's breaking down.
ZYX.
The whole system is breaking down. They want it to break down into their
that video.
Great reset. They want to have the reset that they want to have.
The video of that guy jumping out the window, it apparently is from a movie. I don't know.
The money system's breaking down, the government system's breaking down, it's all breaking down. And it's going to be how we play it, what we do about it. You know, and with everything that they're doing, they want us feeling negative, they want us feeling bad, they want us worried about everything. That's why I keep saying to you, no stake in the outcome. Don't stress about all this stuff, because everything they do is they're trying to put you into fear. They want to make you feel hopeless. But I try to keep it empowering. No stake in the outcome. You've got to see what the game is. But then you've got to intend for it to go the way you want to do. You know, as I've often said to people, the true nature of prayer is to put yourself in the emotional state where the prayer has already been answered. Your whole life is a prayer. Because you're having this emotional conversation all the time. You're having this emotional conversation and the field is mirroring that back to you. If you're in a state of fear, if you're in a state of stress about income or stress about money or stress about anything, well, that's what you're putting into the field. And if you pray for something, if you pray for peace or you pray for love, what you're doing is you're carrying out a negative affirmation. You are confirming that there is no peace and there is no love. Now, if you want peace, you put yourself in the emotional state. What would you feel like if that peace was already in the world? What would you feel like if all of this stuff was breaking down around us and humanity was going to shine through and get to that golden place that we've always wanted to be? How would it feel like to be in that place? Put yourself in that emotional state and see that that's what all this is. That's what this whole breakdown of the system is. It can go the way they want it to if they can get enough people in fear to put that into the field and move us into that reality. But if enough people see this as a really positive thing and a really crucial time for humanity and a time of great opportunity where humanity actually gets to stand in their power, we can change the world. It's really that simple. A lot of people don't think it is. I'll say that's hippie, airy, fairy, new age, whatever. They don't understand. They don't understand how it works. Even the Christians don't understand how it works. I mean, they're waiting to be saved. They're waiting for Christ to come back and save them when he told them that they could do it themselves. And you look at Christ. He was an activist. He was an anarchist.
Steiner said a third of the population by this year will be zombies.
This clip is so true.
That was, they won't be fully incarnated into their body. Their soul is going to be spliced. I feel like there's accuracy to that.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, and it's not a judgment. It's just assessing where we are today in this current state of affairs, in whatever dimension this is, whatever reality this is, because we don't know anything. The science is likes to tell us everything, but at the end of the day, it's just movies. It's just Hollywood. We have no idea who we are, where we are, why we are. All of those things, we've just kind of like neglected that research studying and all that kind of stuff. It's now we're just living in some kind of like pseudo fantasy, and we're so stuck to materialism. Whatever the system is, whoever they are, whatever, has built this system based on that, you know. And when you have a population that's just trying to figure out how they're going to pay their rent, how to feed their children, and where to get clean water, these kinds of conversations sometimes are difficult to have because you have to meet people where they're at. And so I have compassion for everyone I come across in this world, which is, again, another Steiner perspective, is you got to meet people where they're at and pass no judgment. You take every communication as an experience to learn and to see and evaluate your own tools and see your own triggers. You know, that's really important. I think you speak on that a lot too, like in relationship. You know, what are these patterns that keep coming, and why are we having breakthroughs? Why do we keep breaking up? You know, it's this the same old pattern over and over. I think we need to be doing that with ourselves every day, evaluating our reality. And I think that's a very important lesson to offer ourselves. That's truly what self-love is, right? You know, creating momentum in the way that you treat yourself, that stop neglecting what your body is telling you. You know, if you're having a pain in your side or your muscles are twitching and you keep having a regular heartbeat and your skin's dry and your eyes are red and you have dry mouth all the time and you know you can't sleep properly and you seem to be depressed all the time, your body is speaking to you. So the act of self-love is to not, you know, keep dismissing that or hiding it or suppressing it, but it's to go directly into it and really figuring it out. And so just like anything else, you know, back to the root of your question, you know, I think technology, there's some beautiful aspects to it, and it's part of our construct. We're here. It is what it is. But we have to operate with technology working with us, not against us, and not leading us in terms of our conscious thought. Let's evolve and continue to evolve and let technology help that evolution as opposed to leading the evolution or de-evolution. A very dangerous game we're playing. Are you familiar with the Internet of Eyes?
No.
So during COVID lockup, they went out all over the world. China, USA, UK, I mean, Australia, everywhere.
Probably Canada.
Canada, 100%.
Sure. They probably signed up first.
Yep, they probably did sign up because you know who's running that country. And so you got cameras everywhere now. Billions and billions of cameras are on every street corner, every pass, everywhere. They call that the Internet of Eyes. And not to mention all the cell phones. Everyone's got a camera. So there's so much data being compiled right now. It's extraordinary. And that data is your algorithmic thinking. That's your mechanistic material thinking. It's really interesting what they're doing with that data. You'd think that we are the ones paving the way, when in fact, it might not even be us that's paving the way, but something that's being programmed within us.
So true and well said. I'm actually trying to get this guy on for an interview. I really like him. So, thank you all. Yeah, it's been a good show. Apart from my mouse. Enjoy your weekend. And I'll see you all next Friday, 7 o'clock.
Hope. 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 It is the only thing stronger than fear.
Chemtrails cause mind control. Well, what people don't realize is that your consciousness is governed by light. Light comes in through your eyes and hits your pineal gland. You have to have that. And you have to have it. And the pineal gland is the center of consciousness. It's the center of the soul, Descartes said. Okay? And so light, the color of light, changes your consciousness. And if the sun is changing, then it's possible that our consciousness is changing. It could be that the changing nature of the sun over the last 20 years is what's causing the Great Awakening that's happening. And they know that the Great Awakening is happening. Previous to our other conversations about archons, what if the archons realized that the changing nature of the sun was going to wake people up and they're going to find out about them?
Right, love you all.